first, I just want to thank you for even being willing to run, because it's an unpaid position, obviously, and I just think that the more people that get involved and are willing to invest their time into something like this is for the better. So just want to give the folks at the taxing entities and the residents here in Tarrant County a little bit of an idea of who you are and why you're running and where you come from and that sort of thing. So I'll just kind of start open-ended by saying, tell me, who is Rich Deotte?
I'm a civil engineer. I'm married to my wife, Odette. We have 3 grown children. We live in Southlake, and our office is in Keller. I do civil engineering to make a living. I've been involved in the property tax issue for years and interacting with many local elected people. They've had a constant refrain talking about the problems that the appraisal districts have.
So I know that the city of Colleyville nominated you.
Actually, I was nominated by the city of Keller, and their nomination didn't come through on the form, but they did vote to nominate me. The city of Southlake nominated, and then also the city of Colleyville nominated me. And as of right now, the votes are coming in. The election's going on right now. I have Keller has voted for me. I've gotten votes from Carroll ISD, and we're on a roll.
Terrific. How about that? That's really interesting.
I was going to throw this in. I have an endorsement for this, actually. Raul Gonzalez was the president of the Mansfield ISD, and he's endorsed me for this and is working hard to help me get elected.
Terrific. That's excellent. So I don't know if this is anything, but the sheet that I've got here, let me just show it to you. This is the sheet that I got about who the nominees are.
Yep.
And so I wonder if this is if I've got the official sheet or not, because you mentioned that you were nominated by the city of Keller and also Southlake, correct?
Correct.
And then on this list, it mentions Southlake and Colleyville, and I apologize, I didn't remember that before. But the fact that Keller didn't make it on here, I wonder if that's indicative of some of the issues that we have at TAD. What do you think?
Well, it might be. I'm an engineer, and I like to get good data before I start making decisions. And in this case, I don't know why Keller's not on there. It could be something got lost in a fax machine or an email or something. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But I do know that they voted, and I was nominated by them, and they've already given me their votes. So.
Terrific. How about that? And you mentioned that the reason why you're running. Could you elaborate a little bit on why you're running?
Well, there are really 3 things. First of all, I feel like I'm equipped and qualified to do this. I've been involved in these roles before on a volunteer basis and a little bit in government. I was the chairman of the Civil Service Commission for the Sheriff's Department at one point, and we rewrote the entire civil service rules while I was there. We took a lot of time to do it, very thoughtful process, and tried to do what we could to make the system more fair for the sheriff's employees at that time. So I've done that kind of thing in this sort of role before. Communication is the number one thing. When I talk to people, a member of an ISD board told me recently, I don't even know what those people do over there. And it was kind of funny the way he said it, but that's the way most people don't know the TAD board exists or what their job is. And what he was conveying to me was that there wasn't a lot of communication that happened. They get elected, and he helped get people elected to it before, and you never hear from them. And if there are problems, you can solve them if people want to solve them. And I think the taxing entities need to see some of these processes improved, and certainly their constituents, the taxpayers, need to feel like the system is fair. And right now there's a growing concern out there that the system is not fair, and it needs to be fair. So that's communication and skill, and also just addressing the various issues that they have with the way the organization operates. It should be a happy place to work. It should be a data gathering and processing operation. It shouldn't be political at all. And that, along with the concerns that people have reflected to me, are why I'm running.
Terrific. So in this election process, the only people that get to cast ballots, and I should say, instead of people, I should say entities, would be the taxing entities themselves. So the school districts, the cities, and then there are other little jurisdictions out there that can vote. And so is there anything specifically that pertains to them that is important to you, and that you feel like they should know about why to vote for you?
Well, they're the ones who have said that when you talk about tax rates and effective tax rates and all these different decisions they have to make, it's important that they have over time very consistent and good data, and I don't think they're getting it right now. That will bite everybody at some point if it doesn't get fixed. So that's the number one thing. And I have had people, friends of mine, when do I vote for you? Well, you can't, because this is the taxing entities, so they're the ones who vote.
And with the citizens out here, obviously the property tax issue is something that has tremendous public interest, but like you said, there are so few people that even know that there's a board of directors at TAD, and we don't get to vote, but we could possibly express our interest in a particular candidate to our elected city council members and board of trustees.
We could, yeah, and I've had a lot of support from regular people, so to speak, who have done that on my behalf with a number of entities. So we're hopeful. It's hard. There are 4 incumbents that are actually running. It's always hard to win a seat when you've only got one that everybody else is vying for, essentially. But we'll see how the votes come in. I'm encouraged at this point. We've got a plan, and if everybody that I've talked to is going to follow through, we're going to be in pretty good shape. And we're going to do a good job, too. That's the thing. So we'll start, as soon as we get elected, we're going to try to get some information about the situation, make sure we understand it clearly. And then we'll work with the other board members and try to figure out a way to rectify some of these problems. One thing I want to mention, why this problem? If I'm going to try to fix something, what motivates me? I'm a little bit motivated by what the taxing entities have said. That's a very important thing over time. That needs to be done, and that registers with me. But there was a case. I went to protest one day, and while I was waiting, there was an older gentleman there. He's probably about 80, feeble, and all he had in his hand was the notice of what his tax valuation was, and he wanted to protest it. That's it. He doesn't understand what's going on the other side of the counter or across the table. So when you go into a review board, you sit down. There's usually 3 people there, and then there's a person from the tax office there with a computer with all kinds of data at their disposal. And some guy walks in with a piece of paper and says, "I just think it's too high." He's probably right. He knows it's going up too fast, and he's probably right. That guy did not stand a chance there. And I heard him say, "I'm going to lose my house." So for me personally, all of it's important, but that kind of thing really drives me. The system needs to be fair. And the taxing entities can vote for people to try to work with the system, within the constraints of the system, to try to make improvements to it. And that's what I want to do.
Terrific. Very good. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the people that can voice support to their elected officials about why they should voice support for you?
Most of the candidates that run for this don't express the kind of desire to fix the problem. In fact, I don't know who else in the race is doing it or how they're doing it. It's oftentimes connected. It's elected bodies that are doing the electing, so a lot of them really don't even know who they're voting for. So if you want to elect somebody or get somebody elected to the board, that'll ask some questions in a respectful way, go about what needs to be done to get problems fixed, that's what I'm going to do.